So, how are image consultants different, right? And what I just said, stylists, as we learned in the previous part of the lecture, stylists work with clients in order to fulfill a specific task or a specific assignment. Image consultants, on the other hand, they take clients on and just focus on their personal style. So by taking on a client's personal style, it really actually takes on more importance, right? Because these are clothes that clients are going to wear out in the real world. These are real people, and these are real outfits that they're going to wear. And the choices often have to conform to the norms of a client's profession, or there's some budget constraints that are in there because these are clothes that the client is going to purchase. The goal of the image consultant is just to make the client feel good about themselves, right? To build a stable relationship that also fosters repeat business. And, oftentimes image consultants are self-employed, but sometimes they do work at retailers, mostly high-end retailers. Like Nordstrom's had a personal styling department. So people that just did personal styling. So these image consultants generally, are self-employed. They build their client base through referrals and marketing, and just building relationship and networking, much like stylists do. Oftentimes, stylists start off and they do a little bit of both. They have their foot in the styling world and in the image consulting world, but they are adept again at self-promotion. Image consultants that are oftentimes employed by a retailer are known as personal shoppers. So like I said, at Nordstrom, we had a personal shopping department, and they work one-on-one with clients who insist in buying merchandise just from that store. So, the personal shopper's process is the client makes an appointment, the shopper preps for the appointment, the client tries on, does fittings, alterations, and ultimately makes decisions. As much as we've talked about styling for celebrities for specific, shoots or campaigns or movies, TVs, commercials, there are stylists who also just work with celebrities in their everyday life, right? Because they don't always have the time, energy, or effort to pick the clothes that they need to wear for appearances and events or times that they may be photographed by the media. So these celebrity stylists, these image consultants for celebrities, they work in a different manner. So unlike for, photo shoots or things that are much more organized by an agent, some stylists just pull regular everyday outfits for their celebrities. And these are outfits that the celebrities oftentimes they pay for, but sometimes they are still donated by a designer because they want to get their name out. So what makes an image consultant, so sought after, right? Generally, they offer a concierge services, right? They offer highly in-demand services. They're available. They have connections to retailers and showrooms that they're not employed by a retailer. There's some versatility, and they also have the ability, or they work in conjunction with a great seamstress or tailor. Clients that work with image consultants, they want to ensure that they have a great fit, right? That's why the alterations and tailor are so important. Alterations and tailor are important in regular clothing, but if you have the money to get things tailored just to you, it's even better. So, image consultants need to understand fit. They need to understand international sizing and vanity sizing. And in a second, we'll talk about it, but they really need to understand fabric. In our textiles class, we talk a lot about fabric and fabric characteristics. And we talk about things such as hand and luster and drape and wicking and wrinkle resistance. And that's part of what a personal stylist does. They understand the lifestyle of their client, and they are able to put together a wardrobe that fits all the sections of their lifestyle. In addition to understanding all the different, kind of categories or subsection of a client's life, image consultant has to have a clear definition of services that their client is willing to use and how much they're willing to spend, so that pricing. So they have to have some essential information about the client and their preferences, and understand the client's body shape and type. For almost 10 years in my career, I worked at Nordstrom's, and even though I wasn't a personal shopper, I had a handful of clients, but I had one client in particular who didn't even live. I was working in New Jersey at the time. She lived in Boston, and I served as her personal shopper. So she would call me and say, "Hey, Tara, I'm coming to Jersey. I have $5,000 to spend. This is what I'm looking for." And based on my experience and my relationship with her, I knew exactly what she would need. By developing a relationship with Anne, I was able to help her build her wardrobe. And she was one of those people that she only would wear an outfit if I put it together for her. She would not mix her pieces. I was able to help her build her wardrobe by understanding what she already had in her closet and what she needed. So by understanding her body type and her coloration and what she was comfortable in, I was able to fulfill her needs and stay within her budget. The image consultant needs to understand body types, and that's coming in a future lecture a couple weeks down the road. We're going to talk about body types, but they need to understand body types. They need to understand the difference between an apple or a pear or an hourglass. They have to understand what their client is comfortable in addition to their body type, because people that have a great hourglass figure but never want to show any cleavage. And image consultants need to bring, the same thing to every client, right? They need to bring an understanding of the client's personal style. They need to bring some style categories in, so some classics, some trends, and maybe even some fads, right? They need to bring that to every client and oftentimes push the client a little bit out of their comfort zone to keep them fashion forward. The image consultant has to have a clear understanding of where their client sees themselves in their fashion tribe. We're going to talk about fashion tribes coming up in a future lecture as well. Is their client, modern and classic? Are they romantic and vintage? Are they creative, edgy, and contemporary? So by understanding their client's personal style, they're able to give them what they want, but still move them forward. The image consultant also needs to understand, color theory and coloring, again, coming in a future lecture, right? And they have to be able to use some color references, right? So things like the Pantone, coloring number system can help them understand that the colors that their client is most drawn to and the colors that work best with the styling that the client wants to embody. So they need to understand the color story, based on the client's, skin, hair, eye color, right? So those color families that exist. And when we talk about color theory, we'll get to those. But the cools, the blues and the greens, and then those warms, those yellows and oranges, and pastel silvers, and this can be fluid depending on skin pigmentation. And what colors, look great on a client can vary, right? It can vary based on the time of year or changes in hair color. I've changed my hair color probably more than I probably should. So it's really important that the image consultant stays abreast of what the client is looking for and what the client's needs are, because needs do change. And just like in a stylist, there's some downtime oftentimes for image consultants, even for those that work for a retailer, right? So they really have to build and maintain personal relationships. They need to visit vendors often. They need to keep informed about the fashion world. Those same how-to things that we talked about with stylists, image consultants need to do as well. All right, so you made it to the end of Image Consultant 101. Dive on in, read the article that is listed there, and then you are ready to move on to meeting some people.